Hey there everyone, my name is Boomy. Welcome back my lovelies. Now I would like to watch another food video along with you guys today. So this video comes as a request from the wonderful Rebecca, my friend. Thank you so much for requesting this video. So Rebecca says, I have an interesting video for you. Do you like pizza? Rebecca, I love pizza. Do you know, I've not actually ever met one single person that doesn't like pizza, ever. So I'm gonna guess it's quite similar in the US, that I think it might be quite difficult to find someone that doesn't like pizza because it's a universal favorite, isn't it? Do you know, I think if they did a global survey of, cultures aside, just what is the most favorite food of everyone in the planet, I reckon pizza would come up a top favorite, if not the top favorite. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you've been brought up with, what foods, what culture. I think everybody generally loves pizza. You know, tomato, carb, cheese, nothing to not love on there. You can even, if you're lactose intolerant, or if you have an allergy to dairy, you can even come up with crazy like cheese alternatives on it now. So there's loads that you can do with a pizza. So yes, Rebecca, I love pizza. Here's a new and fun idea for a way to make it. Maybe you can give it a try in the near future. Ooh, I'm intrigued now. Let's see. But we have a little kind of pizza oven. I don't know how great it is, but it reaches the temperatures that it needs to. And so yes, in my household, we are quite big on making pizzas, more so in the summer when the temperatures allowed and we had good weather. Well, I say good, mild, not raining most of the time. So yes, we do tend to eat a lot of pizza in summertime, which is a shame because I'd eat it all year round, to be honest. You'll understand why I sent you this recipe once you get your new packages. They will be on their way soon. Oh, thank you so much, Rebecca. I'm so sorry. I know sometimes it's a bit of a nightmare sending the packages across the pond, and I'm so sorry for anyone that has sent anything to me and you've had a little bit of trouble with customs, or I know they don't like sending fresh things, do they? They don't let you send like anything fresh, meat or anything like that. If they're dried or vacuum packed, I think it's okay. But I'm going to be honest, I don't actually know the rules around what they will and won't allow. I know it can be an absolute pain. And thank you to anyone who sends me anything out. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And I'm so sorry if you have any trouble. But yes, I do apologize, Rebecca. I'm so sorry. I hope the next one, oh my gosh, I hope any that you've sent, you've had good luck with. Anyway, I'm blabbing. I do this. I chat so much. I talk. I'm a big talker. So here we go. This video is called How to Grill Pizza with Kenji Lopez. So this is a new face for me. So let's crack on with the video, shall we, guys? And let's see this new amazing way of cooking pizza. And as ever, guys, if you're enjoying these reactions, please like and subscribe if you would to my channel. Thank you so much, my lovelies. If you're interested, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account. The link is over here. And if you're interested in supporting my channel any further, if you could check out my Patreon account, that would be amazing. Thank you so much, my lovelies. The link is in the description below.
Grilling
aggressive.
pizza.
Oh.
I love every kind of pizza there is, but there is one pizza that I've never had and I've never really made at all, and that's the grilled pizza. But today I've got Kenji Lopéz-Alt teaching me everything I need to know on how to make a great grilled pizza, and we're gonna show you all the secrets too.
I feel like I'm being let in on a big secret here.
Grilled pizza.
Yeah, grilled pizza. So this was actually my first full-time restaurant job out of college, was grilling pizza. We were trained by one of the chefs at Al Forno in Providence, Rhode Island, which is where they invented grilled pizza. I love grilled pizza because it's extremely simple, right? Like you don't need any kind of special equipment. All you need is a grill. And you get these sort of charred, light results that you get out of like a sort of like a Neapolitan pizza. You get those kind of leopard spots, and you get that really light texture. It's like good for socializing. It's really easy to share. These take about 3 or 4 minutes to make once you start cooking them. And so you have a group of friends around, you pull out one pizza after another, you each take a bite, and you can all just be kind of hanging around the grill. You can do it all in one day, and the actual sort of hands-on part is pretty minimal. So we're gonna do all that, and we're gonna eat some more pizza.
I love it. Let's do it.
All right. Okay, so guys, in the UK, when we talk about barbecue, we mean a grill. It's a grill for us anyway. So that's what whenever we say we've had a barbecue, we've got people coming around, it's a grill. So I would say, for me, this looks like they're putting a pizza on a barbecue, which sounds crazy, but you get the flavor of those charcoals. I'm imagining they're using charcoals. I don't know, maybe it's a gas grill, I don't know. But yes, you get that lovely, lovely charred flavor on the bottom. So straight away, I'm thinking, ooh, this is a game changer. I'd really like to try this. Mix the dough.
All right, so we're just gonna jump into mixing dough. We don't have to do anything.
Let's do it. Let's
Let's
start
start with a good dough.
All right, so we've got AP flour. This is gonna make enough for 3 pizzas. I think it's 300 grams of flour. Yeast.
What did he call that flour?
Sugar to help with
Is
the
it
browning.
AP?
And is that the right measured amount of salt? It seems like a lot, doesn't it?
Now, I always thought you had to use, is it the 00, the 00 flour, Italian flour? I think it's very fine, isn't it? It's ground very, very fine. And I've been using that, you know, in place of just using like a bog standard flour or a bread flour, and it is superior, isn't it? You've got to make your dough with this amazing flour, and it really, really does elevate the flavor of that dough and the texture of it as well.
How much salt is it?
Just want to double check. Yeah. 7.5 grams.
7.5. We could try it again. It looks like probably is.
Maybe, yeah.
Where's our scales? Maybe
Very
it's extra light
specific.
and fluffy kosher.
Yeah.
Oh.
Spot on.
And we got kosher
All right.
salt again here.
Perfect. All right, so we're just going to very briefly mix our dry ingredients.
I know I keep saying it, guys. I said it in the last video. And what is kosher salt? What makes it? Where's it from? What makes it so great? Why would I use it in place of other salts? I need to know, because I don't think that we have this sold in our supermarkets. I think I could probably get it from somewhere like Amazon. But yeah, why would I buy it? Why is it superior? Why are all the chefs using it? Let me know if you know, guys.
Salt's just one of those things. This seems like a lot of salt. Like, nah, it's the perfect amount.
Yep, it's perfect. All right, so now we're going to add our water and olive oil. So I think this is a 61% hydration dough. So that's 61 times 3, so 183 grams of water. But anywhere between sort of 60 and 65 will do. And honestly, like, you know, this style of pizza is pretty forgiving. So it's like you can easily make it with store-bought dough.
So just a little
Okay.
stiffer just to hold onto the grill.
Unlike, say, like a New York or Neapolitan where you're stretching it out by hand and you really need that dough to be a little bit looser, like this one, we're going to roll it out with a rolling pin. So actually having a little bit stiffer helps it. And then once it goes on the grill, we don't want it like drooping in and settling, you know? So we're going to basically just mix it just until it comes together. You could just let the stand mixer go and knead it all, but it works a lot better if you let the flour hydrate a little bit. All right, so now we're basically like in the cohesive ball. So I'm just gonna let that, turn that off. Just grab up any sort of excess flour. We basically just have to let this sit for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and in that time, the flour is gonna fully hydrate. There's gonna be some enzymatic action that breaks it down a little bit, the autolyse, so that when you go to knead it later, it'll form your dough a lot faster, make, like I said, a stronger dough. The dough looks quite different from what it was, and especially if you touch it, like before it was kind of shaggy, and now it's really wet and sticky.
Forgiving.
Looks like a dough. Yeah. So now at this point, it should mix pretty easily. So we want to let this go just until it's kind of nice and smooth and silky. You don't need to let it go till it like fully passes like a window pane test or anything, but you want it to feel nice and smooth and silky. So what I'm actually looking for here generally is that when I pull it off the hook, if it comes off like super cleanly and it kind of only sticks to itself, like that's sort of a sign that the gluten's developed enough. If it kind of tears too much, we go a little bit longer. I'll get maybe another minute or two. All right, let's see how we are now. Looking pretty good.
Ooh.
So now we're gonna basically just dump this out into a very lightly oiled surface. A little bit of oil on our hands so it doesn't stick. And so now we're just gonna make it into a ball. The way I do it is I pick it up like that, and with my right hand, I basically, the idea is I'm trying to form like a skin, you know? And so I'm tucking all of the edges into the back here. So I kind of push with that hand and then pinch with this one and kind of work my way around it. And at this point, you know, it's not as smooth as it's going to be when it's done, but we're just trying to get it into sort of a nice tight shape. And we're going to do what's called the bulk fermentation here. So we're going to basically just let that sit we'll cover it and we'll let it sit for about 3 hours until it's roughly doubled in volume.
So no kneading in this. So I've made a few breads and pizza doughs. I wouldn't claim to be particularly knowledgeable about it. It's enjoyable, but I wouldn't say I've done enough of it to say, oh, I really know what I'm talking about with making bread. So I always thought that pizza dough needed a light knead, nothing too major, but I don't know, maybe for like a few minutes. It didn't look like he needed it at all. Is it not necessary? Ooh, I need to go down a new rabbit hole of bread making, I think, and dough making.
So this is one that was made earlier. So this is basically what it's going to look like. It might, sometimes it might puff a little more. This one kind of spread out a little wide. This one's still kind of got this rough cottage cheesy surface, whereas this one is really nice and sort of smooth. So that's the big difference we're looking for, and that's sort of an indication that the yeast has done its work, the gluten has developed, and we're ready to
portion some dough. Love it.
We're going to now just divide this into 3. I like to set it up into like a sort of...
Didn't see that coming. My brain just automatically goes into like the third of the ball. This makes a ton of sense.
I prefer doing like a, like a little ruler.
I like that. A little ruler.
And then we're going to do the exact same thing with these. You want to do that one?
Sure.
Do this one? Yeah. So we're just going to same type of balling up as the previous one, just on a smaller scale. And so for these ones, I like to, for the final shaping, once I get the sort of little belly button there, I plop them down and do one of these tuck jobs, and then you can finish it off with a little, either a one-handed or, depending on the size of your hand, a little one-handed or two-handed cage roll, and that's it. And so nice and round. If it starts out round, it rolls out smoothly, and you get like a little belly button on the bottom. That's okay. The idea here is that we want to sort of create this tight skin around it, so that when we start spreading it out, you still get this really, that skin stretches out, and so you get like a nice even spread. Whereas if you kind of just do like a, like a Play-Doh ball like this, you end up with like sort of scrappy bits that stick out, and then when you try and roll it out, like it's more likely to tear. We'll finish. A little bit of oil, pop them in. You do want to make sure you leave enough space that they can, just like what happened there, they're going to rise a little, they're going to spread out a little. If they're too close, they're going to turn into one big ball. That's it. Now we just let that sit until those are ready to go, which will be, again, this is a pretty forgiving one, so it could be, you can do it in 3 hours, you could do it in 6 hours, and you're probably going to be fine. There's 2 fermentation steps, right? 2 resting steps. So the first one is the bulk fermentation. The main point of that is to allow flavor to develop, allow some more gluten to develop. And so that's really for sort of structural and flavor issues. The second proofing is for shaping, right? So the final proof, you shape the dough the way you want it, you get those nice round balls, and then they spread out, become stretchable. And mainly the reason we're letting them rest is because every time you work with dough, it tightens up, and then you have to give it some time to relax again. Like dough's very touchy.
I think if we roll it right now, it's just gonna.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll be like elastic. It'll pull right back in. So the second step is for shaping, and then giving it enough time to relax that you can stretch it out nicely.
Love it.
So, I've got another question here. I know, I'm full of them. So I didn't realize that pizza dough needed a second proof. I don't give mine a second proof. Oh, but what is this doing to the dough by not letting it proof a second time? Am I harming my pizza? I need to know. Ooh, garlic
so next
oil.
up, garlic oil. So this gets brushed on the dough before we grill it. Real simple, just garlic, olive oil, and a hand blender. Yeah, everything's real simple. Pizza's real simple, right? It's all technique.
I love it.
We're just gonna pulse it a little bit. We don't want this to be like an emulsified puree. We want like little chunky bits of garlic in there.
And this is raw now, and it will get cooked a little bit because it's going to be on the surface that'll hit both sides of the grill.
Exactly, yeah. Okay. You do want to be a little bit careful, because garlic and oil, so garlic can have botulism spores, and when it's submerged under oil, anaerobic environment, so it's possible that you'll develop some baddies in here if you let it sit too long. So make it the day you're going to use it, a couple days, just don't let it sit around.
Okay.
Sauce time.
Sauce time, yeah. So sauce is real simple. It's just tomatoes and salt.
Is this a grilled pizza sauce?
If I was making like the simplest New York style pizza or even like a Neapolitan pizza, just tomatoes and salt, I think simplest works fine. So the idea here is we're going to crush these tomatoes by hand. We want something really rustic. These are Bianco di Napoli, really good ones from California. You can get like a DOP San Marzano, something like that if you want. I prefer using whole peeled tomatoes and then crushing them by hand because you get more control over the texture. And generally, whole peeled tomatoes have a better texture in general because if you buy something like a diced tomato, it's got the calcium chloride and it kind of doesn't really break down very easily. Whereas whole tomatoes will turn into sauce even with your
shoot
finger.
Out of the bowl.
Why does it have the calcium chloride in it? What is it, like a preservative? Why would it need it in the chopped tomatoes? I know that might be a really amateur, really newbie question, but I mean, I'm saying this. I use chopped tomatoes, and it's probably present in all the chopped tomatoes that I use, and I've just never noticed or looked on the tin.
Oh yeah, that's why I always try and poke a hole in each one first so that it doesn't just like squirt up in my face. If you have tomatoes that are very watery, you can drain them, just get some of the little bit of the excess liquid out. But these ones look pretty good.
Would you let this sit for a little bit, or
I mean, this one I like the consistency, but if I had the other tomatoes, I would give it a few shakes and then we're good to go. In a Neapolitan or New York pizza, the sauce is going to cook on top of the pizza because you get heat from the top.
Yeah.
And a grilled pizza, it doesn't really cook very much. So the texture you have here is basically the texture.
That's what you get.
And so you don't want anything watery that's going to spread all over the pizza. So just salt, we're going to season it, and that's it. And then we're kind of good to go. My hands were clean at some point.
They aren't anymore.
I like a bit of basil in
All right, so now we're going to slice the scallions, which is sort of the
oregano.
final garnish on the pizza. It's just part of the style, I think. I start by splitting the scallions into these sort of 2 or 3 inch segments, and then just with the very tip of the knife, I'm going to slit them just on one side so that you can open them up like that. And so you can do that with all these, and you can find a way that's comfortable for you to do that. If you don't want your scallions looking perfectly like hairs, you don't have to do any of this. And so stack them up and then fold them so that they don't curl up on themselves. Instead of doing this sort of up and down, which kind of crushes cells, you want to do like as much slicing motion as possible. So using sort of the full length of the blade. All right, and so then once you get those kind of hair-like things, you dump them in the ice water. The cells are going to absorb some water, so they're going to stiffen up, and then that's going to cause the scallion to curl. If you don't want to wait, spend all the time doing that, which I generally don't at home, I would just take a scallion like this, trim up the bottom, don't bother with the slitting, and just kind of do as much, cut it at as sharp a bias as you can. Yeah. And it's not going to look as good, but it will be a lot faster and get you like 90% of the way there.
Grill that pizza.
We're grilling some pizzas.
We are.
So you've got your workstation that you like to have. Let's chat through it real quick.
Yeah, so the difference between grilled pizza and most other pizza, one of the differences is that it gets topped while it's cooking. Yeah. Not beforehand, because you got to cook that first side first. So you want to make sure that all of your toppings are close to your grill. All right, so that's like the part that's closer to the grill.
Got you.
We're gonna roll out our pizza here. We got a tray with parchment paper on it.
It's a huge difference.
If you get like really nervous about rolling dough and cooking it and trying to keep out of everything, you can actually pre-roll this dough. Just lay it, up to maybe 15 minutes to half an hour before. Lay it out on the parchment. Stack another piece of parchment on top, and you can stack them up and have them ready to go.
Maybe a little flour or oil.
Oh yeah, for sure, flour. Yeah, you want to flour it. If you if you let them sit too long and that flour hydrates, it will eventually stick. So 15, 30 minutes is probably fine. All right, so here's our dough. You can see it's like really nice and relaxed. Yeah, very pretty. Soft. Doesn't bounce back when you poke it.
Keeps its dimples.
Pizza dough down.
Guys, I was saying I don't leave my pizza dough for the second proof. I think, from what they've just been talking about here, so I think that's the reason why my pizza dough is so difficult to roll out or to shape, because it hasn't relaxed, has it? So it's really elasticated, so it just kind of springs back, and it's a pain. It's a battle getting that pizza into shape. So remedy is to give it a second proof, right? Let me know, guys. I'm gonna have to start doing that.
Got a fair amount of flour here, which is fine. Like this type of pizza with something like a New York or Neapolitan, where it's going to end up cooking directly on the stone. You don't want to use too much bench flour because you can get that sort of burnt flour flavor. This one we're going to kind of shake it. It gets shaken around a lot. It's going on a grill. That excess flour is just going to fall off. So it's fine to use excess bench flour here, and it makes it a lot easier to roll it out. So I put in a little pile of flour. I like to use a tapered French rolling pin because I find it just gives you a little more control over the final shape. All right. So I'm going to get it going a little bit in both directions. And then once we're sort of about to there, then I'll just continue going without, just moving the rolling pin instead of the dough. I mean, so when the dough's nice and relaxed, it'll stretch out, and if you see it like really pulling back in, it's like probably a sign that you didn't let it rest long enough. But we're gonna just shake off a little bit of the excess flour here. So that's about it. It's gonna, so I'm making it a little bit smaller than it will be when it actually, it'll stretch out a little bit as it gets on the grill. So garlic oil, kind of like, scoop up a little garlic chunks. Salt.
That's a good idea.
All right, so now we're gonna pick this up, and we're gonna drape it right over the grates. At the beginning, the dough's gonna be pretty slack, right? And a little bit hard to pick up and move around. So what you can do with a Weber kettle, let's say your coals are too hot and you're afraid it's gonna start burning. You can, rotate this around so that your dough ends up on the cooler side of the grill. So we're gonna let it basically just sit here a couple moments. We're gonna see that those bubbles popping up. That's an indication that the dough's setting up. And then once it's kind of firm on that bottom side, it becomes a lot easier to work with.
I love that. You don't hear that sound with a pizza very often.
Oh, and at this point, we can actually brush that other side with garlic also. You don't want to do this right when it goes
ASMR.
on the grill because otherwise you end up like pushing it through the grill grates. You need to let it
Oh,
develop a little starch on the
yes.
face.
Right.
Also salt and pepper. The one thing you're gonna pretty much always notice is that the center cooks a lot faster than the edges, and so you can see like once it starts to cook, I like to give each sort of edge a little bit of extra time over the hottest part of the grill. I think we're pretty much.
I feel like that's
that.
the opposite of most pizzas. The center's cooking faster.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah. I could
But there
eat
we go,
that just
that's,
as
beautiful.
it is.
That one's pretty nicely even browned. Yeah, our coals are
That
on the
sounds
cooler
good.
side now. So, you know, the hotter your coals are, the sort of the more uneven browning you get. So when they're cooler, you get a nice sort of golden brown with some charred spots. When they're really hot, you get more of that sort of leopard spotting. And now your temptation might be to just let it sit there and like go have a beer, go chat with your friends, whatever. You don't want to let it sit too long because, you know, what happens with pizza and with any dough is that if it's hot but not hot enough that it's like, you know, cooking, it's going to eventually, moisture is going to come out of it. And instead of having that sort of contrast between the crackly outside and the soft interior, you end up with something that's crunchy all the way through like a cracker. So you definitely don't want to let it sit too long. I'm doing a combination of fontina and mozzarella here, although any sort of good melting cheese will work. I would avoid something like fresh mozzarella because it's super watery. You'll get a puddle on your
wet.
pizza, and then a little bit of pecorino. And cheese we're putting on first so that it has an opportunity to melt. As far as our toppings go, this one is just
Like
a
an
simple one.
upside-down pizza,
We're gonna take
isn't
those
it?
tomatoes and kind of dollop them on here.
You're not like,
No, yeah, it's gonna be
Not
quite
like-
different from like a New York or
this is
Neapolitan.
brand new to me. I see where you're going with this.
Just like
I
a
love his way
good,
of
like a
describing
Neapolitan
it.
pizza. I feel like this is one of those things that really just like celebrates simple ingredients and like good
Yeah.
technique and like, really not much else. You know? By the time you get to that second side, it's pretty easy to just kind of move around the grill
Yeah.
and just kind of glide over it. What I actually find interesting is that first side, you always get more even browning on that first side because once those bubbles start popping up, you know,
Yeah.
and the dough thins out around those bubbles, that's why like on that second side you get a lot more of the sort of darker spots because the dough had bubbled up and it's a little bit thinner there. But that looks about done to me. So I'm gonna just finish it off
Beautiful.
with a little bit of basil chiffonade. And when I do this basil, I like to throw it over the pizza, but also make sure to get some like into the coals because it smells really good.
Oh my God.
It's like the it's
that
like
smells so good.
it's a sizzling fajita platter of pizza. All right. It's probably a safer way to do
Oh,
that.
that's beautiful.
All right, and we're gonna finish it off with there's a scallion. All right.
Wait, are we cutting it? I want to hear that crunch.
I like to party cut these guys. A bunch of small pieces, what I like. Oh, look at this. Yeah, kind of cantilevers out, which is nice.
How is it going?
Good engineering.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Ooh, you can hear that crunch. Ooh.
Whoa.
Same day.
The contrast to texture in the dough is awesome.
Yeah, that,
Crispy,
like really
crunchy,
crispy
soft,
bit.
moist.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's hard to. That's one of those things that's hard to do with indoor ovens. Like anything that's not this extreme high heat, it's hard to get that real nice contrast. As far as like pizza making at home goes, it's one of the best ways to do it because it's completely entry level. You don't need any kind of special equipment other than a grill. I mean, every step in it is really relatively simple once you understand the process, and you can even do it on the same day. You can do it with store-bought dough. It's just like a really easy way to make new friends or keep old ones. You know.
There you have it. Grilled pizza with Kenji Lopéz-Alt. Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're gonna have the dough recipe on ChefSteps, the full techniques, all that sort of stuff, all the extra tips and tricks.
I'm gonna
Kenji
have to check
Lopéz-Alt,
that out,
Thank you so
aren't
much,
I?
brother. This
Thank
is
you. That's
amazing.
awesome.
My first grilled pizza, and it's amazing.
If you post a picture of a pizza and you don't get a comment saying that your pizza was burnt, then it was underdone.
Subscribe to our channel and visit chefsteps.com for more tips, recipes, guides, and tools to help you level up in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh, look at all these images. Oh. Well, that looked stunning. It looked absolutely delicious. So normally when I add like basil to pizza, I just kind of tear it up or just leave them on like whole leaves, but they look quite finely shredded here. And what an odd thing to do to throw the basil. And he said, didn't he, that he likes throwing it on the grill and then like the basil goes all over the grill, doesn't it? And the smell that you get from there. Ooh. I was going to say the only thing I think this pizza is missing is basil. I love basil on pizza. But no, is there the star? Well, not the star, but you know, the sealer of the show. I love basil in pizza. It is absolutely delicious. So, Rebecca, have you tried this? Oh, yes, yes. So you say it's personally one of your favourite ways to make it. So, in the UK, I think if you showed this to anybody, we would probably say, oh, they're making a pizza on the barbecue. Isn't that weird? So when we say grill, we're talking about a broiler inside our oven. Grill to us means that, and a barbecue to us is your grill. The language barrier, it's so funny. But yes, to most British people, they would think like, oh, this is making a pizza on a barbecue. You can't make a pizza on a barbecue. Well, yes, you can. Right, I'm going to have to give this a go. So again, most people in the UK, we won't get our barbecues out. We say barbecues, it is a grill. We wouldn't get them out until summer. British summertime, which lasts all of maybe 4 weeks if we're lucky. Where it mainly rains a little bit less. I'm not going to say you don't get any rain in summertime. Of course we do. Of course we do. But it rains significantly less. And every now and again, actually, do you know, most years we're getting a bit of a heat wave now, although I'm not really sure a heat wave for us is the same as what you guys would call a heat wave. Like 30 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Sorry, guys, I'm Celsius. Well, oh my gosh, Rebecca, thank you for requesting this. It's very interesting. I'm going to have to give it a go. I didn't even realize this was a thing. Grilled top pizzas or grilled pizzas. They look fabulous. They're a little bit upside down, aren't they? Because they're going straight in with the cheese and then the tomato goes on the top instead of the other way around. Ooh, it's very exciting. I'm going to have to give this a go. Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, for requesting this. And thank you everyone for watching this along with me. Take care of yourselves and I will see you on the next video. Much love. Bye-bye, guys.